Okay, so I've got to work quick, but I want y'all to check out what's going on in the incubator. I'm fixing to put in my day 27. We're on day 27 over here. I've got them kind of kicked aside for just a second. They're okay. These 4 I added today. The other geese had been working on a nest, kind of piling stuff up in there, so I stole 4. Look good. They haven't been setting on them yet, but I added those 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These 7, sorry, I had to count, I had to think about this one. Yeah. These 7 are summer day 25, summer day 20. And then I'll get these over here. But I wanted y'all to see, and it's going to be kind of hard. I've got some that are beginning. Let's see if I put that right there. If I don't spill the phone. Beginning to internally pip. Now you'll see on the camera, kind of, sort of. Ow, hot. There we go. That's where the line was like 3 days ago. And it is done, even though I've got the humidity jacked up in there, a very sudden drop. They do that right before they internally pip. Let's see. And if you look, see how there's movement? Look right above where the pencil line is. See the shadows moving in there? So, I'm kind of sort of working quick, a little. Oh, you can see one in here. Perfect. Hang on. This one has internally pipped. Do you see it? That's a little bitty goose head. Oh, praise the Lord and amen. I have worked so hard. Let's see if we have any more. I have worked so hard on these eggs. On Friday, the power went out at a little after 6. This one, I don't want to turn it because they're trying to orientate themselves to up. So I'm going to have to move it. This is, see it moving there? Okay. As I was saying, on Friday evening, the power went out at about 6 p.m. It's like 6:20. Horrible storm came through. And it stayed out until 7:45. Oh, this one's pretty good. Hang on. There it is. Let's see if I can get that. It's hard to do this like kind of half with a... Look, the shadow right here above the pencil line. So anyways, what I was saying was, power went out. It was out for close to 26 hours. And I was flipping out. Let's see if we can get that one on camera again for you guys. Look over here. That is a little bitty goose head. The chirping, if you can hear it in the background, is actually my house chickens. That is awesome. Thank goodness. Okay, so let me get them all wrapped up. I'll keep chit-chatting a little bit. Point being, I couldn't get the generator going. Yay me, right? Taking notes here. 9 p.m. 1 internal pip for sure. Because they say within like 26 hours of that sudden drop, that difference between where the pencil is and where the shadow starts, they say that you should see an internal pip. Well, so get this here, folks. Power goes out. Stays out. Can't get the generator going. I have my incubator on a battery backup surge protector. I soaked some washcloths in extremely hot water from the sink. Well, it's not extremely hot. It's 125 degrees. I know what my water heater's set at before the water heater did its thing. Basically, I waited. It took about 30 to 45 minutes for the temps to start dropping real cool in the incubator. At which point, once the temps had started to drop, I soaked those washcloths and wrapped them in saran wrap because I didn't want to jack up the humidity too much too soon, right? Put them in there, wrapped everything in a towel really good, and then I kicked on, because I had turned off the battery backup surge protector. I let it warm back up to about right at 100 degrees, kicked it off, because you can turn the power on and off on that battery, and then when it dropped down to right at 97, I'd kick it back on. And I watched it and babied it, and I did that all the way till about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, at which point the battery backup was out of battery, and the power was still off. Oh, let me get my trusty thermometer. So, I kind of had a minor heart attack at that point. Actually, I want to relocate this kind of over here. So I had a minor heart attack because my husband's out of town. I still can't get the generator started. Oh, Lord almighty, this thermometer. There we go. And, wrap this back up. Turn the light on. Had a minor heart attack, and I started thinking, how do we fix this? Well, I remembered. Here, I'll show you. So now I've relocated these where I can see them from here. And if you watch, every now and then, this one closest to me kind of jiggles in there. Every now and then it's starting to jiggle. And this one on the end has been wiggling a little over here. Anyways, point being, I remember my husband complaining at one point that our truck with the heater on was, and I quote, hotter than hell. So I went out at 11 o'clock at night, got in my truck, started the truck, got the heater going, had it an extra thermometer because I've got several with me, and waited till I figured out about where 90 was. I knew I could get the truck to 90. It was close enough. Put the eggs in a basket. Where's my basket? My basket's in the bathroom, I think. Put them in a basket, wrapped them in some towels so they were kind of like in nesting material. Took them out to the truck and put our thermometer that we have, our trusty thermometer, in there with them. And I sat and I waited. And I had this thermometer is like a meat thermometer here. It has an alarm. And I set it to 100. And I babysat those eggs, and every time that alarm went off, it would wake me up. Like, I'd snooze for 5 or 10 minutes. And, you know, the alarm would go off that it was too hot, or just I'd wake myself up, you know, checking to see if the power had come on. I did that all night long, and I managed to keep them right at 98, 99, with only one spike to about 102. Because I had set them on the floorboards at first. And it does, your feet do get, indeed, hotter than hell. I managed to keep them all 98 to 99 degrees overnight. In the morning, the power still was not on, at which point, about 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, the sun was out, and I discovered that if I chased the sun and the shade around the yard and cracked the windows and ran the AC a little bit, that I could indeed keep my truck 98 to 99 degrees with the eggs sitting on the seat for the majority of the day. I brought them in the house once or twice just to candle and be sure I was getting movement. One time after the temps had dropped very, very low, and another time after the temps had spiked very, very high. Not very high, but the time when it hit 102, I waited about an hour and I brought them in and checked them. And the time when I fell asleep finally at like 6 in the morning, but I got hot sleeping in the truck, and I must have cracked the window in my sleep, and the eggs were like 95 when I woke up because I was starting to get cool. The breeze from the window, you know, being open woke me up. So, and my babies. But they were doing okay. There's only a couple in there I kind of question. I do believe, except for 2 at this point, I have seen movement in all of them. 2, maybe 1, I've seen movement in. So, 6 o'clock I came in. I waited for half an hour with the power company on the phone. They told me it was going to be as late as tomorrow. At which point, I ran outside, because I was in and out checking on the eggs all day long to be sure their temperature was right while I was trying to get different stuff done. At that point, 6:45 at night, I started boogieing around, because what I was going to do was, I was trying really hard not to have to transport them, because I was at that point, we're getting where they're ready to pip and start hatching. So I figured if I move them, wherever I move them to, they're going to have to stay, because they're so close. Yes, I can keep the truck the correct temperature, but I did not want to have to move them again. So, I figured it's a couple days, a week. I'm call somebody, figure out, who can babysit these eggs. I had a couple people in mind. And no sooner do I get everybody fed, hay, water, then the power came back on. The phone had just rang, so I ran inside. Someone was calling to check on me. Power came back on. I plugged the incubator back in, because I had unplugged it when the power surge went through, just to be sure it didn't surge back on, even though it's on that surge protector, just in case. Plugged the incubator back in, started bringing it back up to temp, and as soon as it was holding at 90, I went ahead and got the eggs in there from the truck. I ran out 1/4 of a tank of gas, keeping these eggs hot overnight, and then trying to cool them off in the daytime. And we have got, for sure, you saw 1 internal pip, and a couple that are getting there. They are right there on it. So now if you look, this is not accurate. The temperature is not accurate on that. That's one of the big complaints with this model. And I don't know how accurate the hygrometer part is for humidity, but it's probably pretty close. So I know the humidity is raised way up, and as it comes back up to temperature, the windows will fog up, because I'm running it at 75% humidity. I'm still poking and turning them over here. These are now on lockdown. These are not going to be turned anymore, none of that. These I'll have to reach up under there, turn them, and then mist everything to bring the humidity back up. But we, hopefully, knock on wood, everybody say a prayer, we should have baby geese before the week is out. At least a few of them, and then these will be behind them. And that may kind of dictate my plans for the weekend. We'll see how things go. So, that's it. My long story of keeping the goose eggs alive, and we have made it to an internal pip